Have you ever heard of a town that just vanished? Not because of a volcano, a flood, or a war, but because of paperwork? It sounds like something out of a science fiction story, but this is the very real tale of a community erased by the stroke of a pen, a line of code, and decisions made hundreds of miles away. This isn't a ghost story from the past. It's a modern-day mystery about how a place full of life can slowly, quietly, be wiped off the map. Imagine a town. Let's call it Oakstead. It wasn't a huge city, but it was home. It had a main street with a small grocery store, a post office where everyone knew your name, a school filled with the sound of children's laughter, and neighborhoods where people had lived for generations. It was a typical small town, the kind you might find all over the country. People worked, raised families, celebrated holidays, and felt a deep sense of belonging. Oakstead wasn't just a collection of buildings. It was a living, breathing community. So what happened? The story of its disappearance begins not with a bang, but with a whisper. It started with something seemingly mundane, a new highway project. Decades ago, a major interstate was planned. The initial route was supposed to bypass Oakstead completely, bringing new opportunities without disrupting daily life. But as years turned into decades, plans changed. Budgets were cut, new environmental studies were conducted, and political priorities shifted. The route was redrawn, again and again. Then, a new plan emerged. This one was different. It sliced right through the heart of Oakstead, but it wouldn't happen all at once. The government, using the power of eminent domain, began a slow, piecemeal process of buying up properties. It wasn't a forced evacuation. Instead, it was a gradual buyout. One family would get an offer, a generous one they couldn't refuse. They'd sell their house, pack their memories, and move away. Their house would sit empty for a while, a dark window on a familiar street, before being torn down. At first, no one thought much of it. It was just one house, then another. Maybe an elderly couple decided to retire elsewhere. Maybe a young family took the money to start fresh in a bigger city. But then the pace picked up. A whole block was slated for demolition. The local mechanic shop, a landmark for 50 years, was bought out. Then the corner diner. Each sale was a small tear in the fabric of the community. This is where the modern twist comes in. The decisions about which properties to buy and when were increasingly driven by complex algorithms. These computer programs analyze property values, demographic data, and construction timelines to identify the most cost-effective acquisition strategy. The human element was removed. A family's history in a home, their connection to their neighbors, none of that factored into the cold, hard data. The town was being dismantled by an Excel spreadsheet. People in Oakstead started to feel a growing sense of dread. Their town was dying a death by 1,000 cuts. The school's enrollment dropped, forcing it to close. Without the school, more young families left. The grocery store couldn't sustain its business with half its customers gone, so it shut its doors. Suddenly, you had to drive 30 minutes just to buy milk. The post office was next. Its services consolidated with a larger town miles away. Each closure created a domino effect, making it harder and harder for the remaining residents to stay. The people who remained fought back. They held town hall meetings, wrote letters to their representatives, and started petitions. But they were fighting an invisible enemy. There was no single villain to point at. They were battling a bureaucratic machine, a system of regulations and procedures that was too big and too impersonal to reason with. They were told it was for the greater good, for progress. But they were losing their homes, their history, and their identity. Imagine living in a place that's slowly being erased around you. Your neighbor's house is gone, replaced by an empty lot of dirt and weeds. The park where your kids used to play is now fenced off. The silence on the streets becomes deafening. The few remaining residents would look at each other with a shared sense of loss. They were ghosts in their own town, living in the shadow of a future that had no place for them. In a few short years, Oakstead was gone. The new highway now runs smoothly over where Main Street used to be. If you drive on it today, you'd have no idea a vibrant community once thrived there. There's no plaque, no memorial, no sign to mark its existence. It's been completely paved over, physically and historically. The official maps were redrawn, and the town's name was removed. In the eyes of the world, Oakstead never existed. This story isn't just about one town. It's a cautionary tale for our times. In an age of big data, automation, and centralized decision-making, it's easy to forget the human cost of progress. Communities are more than just data points on a map. They are intricate networks of human relationships, shared memories, and collective identity. When we allow algorithms and distant bureaucracies to make decisions that tear these networks apart, we lose something invaluable. What happened to Oakstead could happen anywhere. A new zoning law passed by a city council, a corporation deciding to close a local factory based on a quarterly report, a software program redesigning a delivery route. These small, seemingly rational decisions can have devastating, unforeseen consequences for real people and real communities. The story of the town that vanished without a disaster is a powerful reminder that we need to be vigilant. We need to demand transparency and accountability from the systems that govern our lives. We need to ensure that the human element is always part of the equation, because if we don't, we might wake up one day to find that the places we call home have been quietly and efficiently erased, leaving behind nothing but a ghost of a memory. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, please hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that shape our world. What do you think? Could this happen to your town? Let us know in the comments below. See you next time.